Detection of duplicate invoices is a commonly performed test for disbursement systems. There are four key data elements required for the analysis. You need to have the vendor number, invoice date, and invoice amount for each transaction. We have this information in an example Excel workbook. You can see here, here's amount, date, vendor number, invoice number. There's a bunch of other information as well that we're not going to be working with. So this file has about 50,000 rows, and we're going to run this through Audit Commander and see if we can find any duplicate invoices. So we'll go ahead and close that out, and then we'll open up Audit Commander, blank form, and we want to go into Other, and we'll do duplicate invoices. So the file that we want to work with is called invoices.xls, and we'll double click that. Then we need to select the sheet that's involved, which is called invoices. Then here we need to specify the name of the column that we're using that contains the vendor number, the invoice number, invoice date, and amount. Obviously those can vary from workbook to workbook. So our vendor number, we select that. Now the column that contains the invoice number, we can select from the drop-down list, and then we'll do the same thing for the invoice date and for the invoice amount. Now these four columns here are used for each of the various tests. There's 19 tests that are lettered A through S. So we'll go ahead and select that. We want to do A, which is an exact match. Now that's unusual in a production system unless the controls are simply not working or they're not turned on. The other three areas here are for the fuzzy matches, which are test E through S. So like for example, the percentage, if you're looking at invoice amounts that are within a percentage range of each other, distance is used for looking at leading and trailing characters. And the similarity, there are a variety of tests that can be used for that. LDO, all of these are looking at the characters in the invoice number. LDO is for letters and digits only. So it would strip out any blanks, dashes, pound signs, anything that's not a letter or a digit. You can do the test DO for digits only, Levenshtein distance, amount, transpositions, trailing and leading characters. So we'll go ahead, we've got all the information ready, we'll go ahead and run that. So we'll click on the Run button, and it'll go through there and look for all combinations of pairs of invoices where there is, in this case, an exact match. It found 15 lines, so with you got a header line and 14 details means it identified 7 pairs of potential matches. So we can go ahead and take a look at the report. Now this report is obviously written to this text file called step-53.txt, but we can also take a look at it in a report in a grid. So you can see here you've got this pair here, the same vendor number, same invoice number, same invoice amount, same invoice date. And it's easy to go back. We can select another test, like let's say for example we wanted to run test E, which is looking at, it's one of the fuzzy matching tests. We can go ahead and run that, and in this case it identified 19 lines, in other words 9 pairs of 2. So we can take a look at the report, and this is a case where it's looking for the same vendor number, same amount, same invoice number, but the invoice dates are near each other. Here you can see this first one, they're within 5 days. So that's the process for identifying duplicate invoices. It can also be run using a script if you want, or it can be run in an exploratory fashion here, just using a regular menu. Fairly easy to do, and it doesn't take a lot of time. The purpose of Audit Commander is to make data analysis easier for auditors to use and employ in their audits. And it does this by using a standard Windows type menus, buttons, drop-down lists, etc., so that auditors can do over 40 commonly performed audit procedures, and without having to have specialized computer skills. A typical learning curve can be as little as half a day, and as a result, the auditors can improve their productivity when doing data analysis. It only works with Windows, either XP, Vista, or Windows 7, and the data sources that it can analyze are Excel workbooks, Access databases, and text files. Text files being of particular formats. For the two Office suites that it can work with, XP has the ability to work with formats in both Office 2003 and Office 2007, but if you're using Windows 7 or Vista, you can only work with data in Office 2003 format. Now, of course, it's not a big deal to take Office 2007 and save it in Office 2003 format. So the opening screen is just a blank form with menus going across the top, and we're going to work through some of the examples in a little bit. Here's an example form for doing some population statistics, and you can see that it's all point and click, select from drop down list, type in, fill in the blanks, and with the buttons going across the bottom, for run the procedure, view the chart, look at the report. Here's an example of one of the charts produced that shows you on the left is dollar amounts, debit and credit. On the right are counts, positive, negative, debit, credit, and zero. And all of the forms also show you the results in a grid format, and the data is also saved into the audit directory folder that you specify.